It's incredible to think that we are now at the semi-final stage of this World Cup, with the last 3 weeks seemingly having flown by. We'll hopefully be able to do a few post-World Cup videos once the tournament draws to a close, but as transfer news and excitement ahead of the upcoming league campaign builds, I shouldn't think there'll be too much. Today we're doing another video I've seen requested a fair bit, and if you like it, we could either do a part 2 since we picked a random 7 from an enormous shortlist, or do pretty much the opposite, a video on 7 players who got big moves after the World Cup and turned out to be just as good or even better than their World Cup form had suggested. Here are our 7 World Cup stars who flopped afterwards. Daniel Amokachi, the 1994 World Cup. Nigeria made their World Cup debut at the 1994 World Cup, a tournament they went into ranked 5th in FIFA's world rankings. The Super Eagles topped their group ahead of Bulgaria and Argentina, with Amokachi scoring one of the goals of the tournament. In a tremendous exhibit of pace, power and precision, he sent a rocket of a shot into the top right of the net in Nigeria's final group game against Greece. Playing for Club Brugge at the time, the pacey forward renowned for his thunderbolts made a £3 million move to Everton. Amokachi became a cult hero at Goodison Park when he subbed himself on without manager Joe Royle's permission and subsequently scored twice in an FA Cup semi-final. But overall, he struggled in the Premier League and averaged less than a goal every 4 games. He left for Besiktas in 1996. Kleberson, the 2002 World Cup. A man who only ever crops up in England when discussing Sir Alex Ferguson's worst signings, Kleberson starred for Brazil at the 2002 World Cup in South Korea and Japan. In a Brazilian squad containing the likes of Cafu, Roberto Carlos, Gilberto Silva, Ronaldo, Rivaldo, and Ronaldinho, which went on to win the World Cup, Kleberson began the tournament on the bench. He made his first start against England, where his energy and tenacity was impressive, and he started both the semi-final and final that followed. After Leeds failed to sign him following the World Cup, Manchester United saw off competition from Barcelona to sign him for £6.5 million in 2003. Kleberson was rubbish, there's no other way to put it. He came in as a replacement for fellow South American flop Juan Sebastian Veron, but he was 10 times worse than the Argentine. He also left for Besiktas and was back in Brazil by 2007. Salvatore Schillaci, the 1990 World Cup. A man who has featured regularly during our heavy World Cup focus over the last month, Salvatore Schillaci was a top-class centre-forward for about 6 to 8 months and a pretty mediocre one for the rest of his career. He scored 15 goals in 30 Serie A games in his first season at Juventus, earning himself a spot in Italy's squad for the 1990 World Cup. Having begun the tournament on the bench, he ended it with the Golden Boot, but returned to obscurity shortly afterwards. 5 goals in 25 games the following season certainly qualifies him as a flop, and 2 years after that, he was playing in Japan. Stephane Guivarc'h, the 1998 World Cup. You could argue that Stephane Guivarc'h never really starred at a World Cup, but he was France's first choice centre-forward when they won the tournament in 1998 on home soil. Despite the presence of fellow forwards like Thierry Henry and David Trezeguet, Guivarc'h was Aimé Jacquet's number 1, starting 4 games and coming on as a sub in another. He started in the quarter-final, semi-final and the final. He had scored 21 goals in 32 Ligue 1 games in the previous season, and Newcastle paid £3.6 million to acquire his services that summer. Once named as the worst striker in Premier League history, the Frenchman only actually made 4 appearances, from which he scored once, but he certainly qualifies as a post-World Cup flop. Hadji Diouf and Salif Diao, the 2002 World Cup. Seen as though both Hadji Diouf and Salif Diao starred for the same country at the same World Cup and subsequently signed for and flopped to the same Premier League team, we figured it was fair game to include them as double entrants. Diouf was really one of the stars of the 2002 World Cup, impressing with his searing pace and dribbling abilities as Senegal reached the quarter-finals and he made the all-star team of the tournament. Liverpool promptly made him their second most expensive signing of all time, but he became better known for spitting in people's faces, racially abusing ball boys, and being called lower than a sewer rat by Neil Warnock before later signing for Warnock at Leeds than his silky skills in England. Salif Diao also made a pretty big impression at the 2002 tournament, for both good and bad. Diao gave away a penalty, scored a magnificent team goal, and was then sent off all in a single game against Denmark. Liverpool had seen enough to bring him to Anfield though, but Diao made only 37 league appearances in 5 years, before enjoying a mixed spell at Stoke City. Robert Vittek, the 2010 World Cup. Robert Vittek is an interesting character. He agreed a move to Real Madrid which fell through as a teenager and went on trial at Birmingham City a short while later. He had carved out a decent career for himself in Germany and France when the 2010 World Cup arrived, making him Slovakia's first choice centre forward. He became the country's all-time leading scorer at the finals, scoring once against New Zealand, twice against Italy to knock them out, and once more in the knockout stages against the Netherlands. Only Thomas Muller, Wesley Sneijder, Diego Forlan and David Villa scored more goals than him in South Africa. After the tournament, he headed to the Turkish Super League but scored only once in 12 outings the following season. Now aged 36, Vittek is currently playing for Slovan Bratislava in Slovakia, where he has scored twice in 31 games. Javier Margas, the 1998 World Cup. There are unsuccessful World Cup signings, and then there's Javier Margas. An assured centre-back with a rocket of a right foot, Margas earned rave reviews in his 4 games for Chile at the 1998 World Cup. Harry Redknapp certainly liked what he saw, and he wasted no time bringing Margas to Upton Park from his current side Colo Colo. In 2 years, the Chilean captain made just over 20 appearances for the Hammers, struggling to adapt to life in East London. It was after 2 years that Margas didn't report for training for a couple of weeks, that is. Attempts to locate him proved fruitless until Margas and his wife flew home and left West Ham. The centre-back didn't play again and now owns a string of unusual and erotic hotels in Chile. So that's it for our 7. Let us know your thoughts and any other World Cup ideas you'd like to see from us in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for the People's Channel of HITC Sevens. Also, we recently set up a Twitter account, so you can now follow us and get in touch. Our username is simply @HITC Sevens.